Hey, what is up guys? It's Fred back again with another video, and today I'm covering one of the easiest ways one can make money and even go viral on YouTube. The work you'll have to do is very minimal, and this can easily become a wildly profitable side hustle as you literally only need to spend a few minutes per day to upload consistently. I'll show you all the free tools you'll need to generate these simple yet effective videos, and towards the end, I'll even give you some bonus monetization methods you can utilize to earn even more money. Now before we begin, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell for more videos about making money and starting a business online. And without further ado, let's get right into this video. So prior to showing you exactly how to set everything up, let me first show you several examples of very successful channels that are doing this exact strategy. And also keep in mind that because it's ridiculously quick to be able to create these types of videos, the people who run the channels I'm about to show you probably still have tons of free time to work on other stuff and just do this as an extra easy income stream. Anyway, for my first example, I've searched up sports rankings over the years, and as you can see here, the videos that show up at the top and also have a lot of views are these very simple ranking videos with graphs that are constantly moving. And for instance, we have a video here called Ranking History's Top 10 Men's Tennis Players between 1990 to 2019. And so if I just open up this clip for you really quick, we'll be able to see how simple yet effective it actually is. And literally all this is bar graphs that represent each player's name that move around and also shift in rankings as the years go by. And if we try to estimate the earnings of this particular video, which has obviously got a ton of views at over 1 million, if we go by the standard ad rates, and believe me, I know them pretty well from running 2 channels, an entertainment type video should see somewhere between $2 to $5 per 1,000 views if it's in English. And so even going by the lowest end of the spectrum at $2 per 1,000 views, this person would have made over $2,000 from this one video. And if I just give you a couple more examples and to also give you some additional channel ideas, this channel here called The Rankings is also doing quite well, with each of their recent videos getting tens of thousands of views, which translates to, for example, at 50,000 views for the second video here, they would have made over $100. And part of the reason that this channel is doing so well is also because they're making videos about topics that are trending recently, so ideally for your channel, doing this strategy could work very well to get your videos discovered. And in addition to following standard social media and the news, you can also use websites like answerthepublic.com, which shows you top search terms related to whatever keyword you type in. And in addition to that, Google Trends can also be very helpful for evaluating whether a certain topic is currently trending relative to the times. And as for a particular video strategy you should definitely consider, power ranking type videos tend to pique people's curiosity a lot, and for example, these comic book and anime character power ranking comparison channels are doing incredibly well, with some of their videos hitting tens of thousands of views and in some cases even millions of views. And now let me show you exactly how you can create these kinds of videos in literal minutes. First, you'll need to go over to a website called flourish.studio, which is a free chart builder and provides the animated timeline versions that you'll need for your videos. To get started with it, you can simply sign in with a Google account, and then once you're inside, you want to go to the top here where it says New Visualization and then click on this. Next, it's going to ask you to pick from a variety of different templates, for which you want to actually scroll all the way down to where on the right it says Bar Chart Race. And so you can select any of these 3, so I'm just going to select the first one here. And here they actually already fill up your template with a working example. So the one we got is an animated chart of the top 10 country populations. And as you can see, the chart is indeed being animated like they are in the YouTube videos. But if you don't want to actually do a video based on populations, you need to go up to the top here and toggle from preview mode, which we're in right now, to data mode to actually customize what exactly you want to be displayed. And now the way you customize this table is actually quite similar to how Microsoft Excel or Google Sheet works if you're familiar with those. But even if you're not, Flourish has also conveniently placed instructions on the right side for you to select which columns host the names, which host the images, and which host the actual numbers that fluctuate. For example, the first item here, which is label, in our case is actually the country names. So let me first move this slightly over for you to see. Right here. And so as you can see here, A is indicated for the labels, and here we have all the country names lined up under column A. And subsequently, for the second column here, this is actually known as a category. So for example, here we have different continents. So we have African countries, American or North American, South American countries, and Asian countries. And on the right here, as it says here, column B, this is actually called categories, and this is completely optional. So if you don't have a type of data set that requires this, you don't have to include it. But what is important is, first of all, the images that go along with each of your names. So for instance, if I just quickly go back to our preview here, beside each name or country name, there's also an associated image, right? So in order to add that, on the right here, it says that image is represented by column C. So all you need to do is to go to column C and paste in the URL beside the name of the respective country you want the image to show up by. And lastly, what's also important is the values that actually move and determine the rankings. And for that, currently this one is represented by columns D through ZZ. So from D, which is 1960, and then E is 1961, and so on and so forth, all the way to 2019, I believe, or 2017. So for this, you don't necessarily have to have this many columns. It obviously depends on how many years you have in your timeline, right? And so all you have to do here is quite simply paste in the respective statistic for that respective year, for that respective country, or whatever other item you have in that row. But now, to add to my explanation and to make it easier for you to understand, let me actually run through a very quick demo of this, starting with deleting this entire table. So I'm going to highlight it and hit delete. And the example I'm going to go with now is the rankings of the top 10 most valuable companies. And for these types of stats, wikipedia.org is going to be a very good resource. So here, for example, I have list of public corporations by market capitalization, which is how much they're worth essentially. So if I scroll here, they even have a table of contents that I can click on the links of, and it goes from 1996 all the way to 2020. So that's a pretty good length as well for a video. And for example, if I just scroll all the way down to, or actually click on 1997 here and go down to this year. So here we can see that the top 10 companies are these. And now I can literally just copy and paste some of this information back onto Flourish here. So for example, if I wanted to do, let's say Microsoft, I'm just gonna, well, obviously you can just copy up Microsoft, paste it into the first block here for name. Oh, and by the way, the colored row here represents what you want to name these columns, right? So for instance, in this case, instead of countries, which is what this table formerly was about, I'm gonna name this company. Next, for column B, which currently represents categories, which is optional, but I can include it because Wikipedia does have several categories that I can just copy and paste in. So in this case, let's do headquarters, so where the company is located. Whoopsies. Let me just get the headquarters, which is United States. So first of all, let me name this column headquarters. And then here I can type in United States. And then for column C, we currently have image. So for that, I can just go over to google.com to find a logo for Microsoft. So I can just type in Microsoft, search up an image. And you also want to ideally make sure that the image has a transparent background. So for that, usually when you search up a certain brand, it's going to have the option at the top here to select a transparent image. Otherwise, you can also type in into the search bar, Microsoft transparent, or whatever your company name is, plus transparent. And you should be able to find images without backgrounds. But anyway, here I'm just going to select this here. And now what you also want to do is to actually double check whether the images have a transparent background. So for example, these that already show up with their checkered background will not, unless you actually go into the website and then go through the fuss of downloading an image or something, which we don't want to do. Instead, for example, this one doesn't show the checkered background just yet, which is a good sign. If I open it up, if it then shows the checkered background here, that means it is indeed transparent. So I can now right click it, select copy image address, go back to Flourish here and just paste it into this tab here. And now the last thing you want to do for this row is to fill in the actual statistics. So first of all, you actually have to name all the years you want to include. So in this case, we're starting from 1997 and going all the way to 2020. So for that, you'll have to put in or type in 1997, 1998, and keep going until you reach the end of whatever you want to the graph to continue on to. And after I fill in all these years, I can then go over to Wikipedia to paste in the relevant numbers. So here we want to look at market value. And so I'm just going to copy this up, go back here, paste it in for 1997, and just rinse and repeat for each of the subsequent years. But just be careful. Sometimes, let's say if, for example, Microsoft isn't present in the top 10 list in a particular year, you just don't paste, you don't have to paste anything for that stat in that year. However, you still need to have the column for that year, right? So for example, if it's not present on the list in 2000, I'm just gonna have 3 numbers like this and then put it back on the list, assuming it comes back in 2001, I just have to have a number here and continue on however many times it's on the list. But you don't want to go from 1997, 1998 to 1999 and then skip straight to 2001 right here. You still have to include each and every year. Alright, and now that I've filled in all the boxes for Microsoft from 1997 all the way to 2017, if we just switch back over to preview mode, we can see that it is indeed being animated. It's just that there's no other company to compare it to, so that it doesn't look like, or the bar itself doesn't look like it's moving. However, the numbers, as you can see, are indeed fluctuating in the year as well. And if I just switch back here and do an example, so let me just actually copy out this entire row just for an example and change up some of the numbers here. Whoa, not that. Oopsie daisy. Let me just paste it in again. Change up some of the numbers, so we can do these. Just punch in some random numbers here to see how the bar race works out. And sometimes the system will kind of lag a bit. As you can see, right now it's sort of weird and not really the bars aren't really looking different despite me changing the numbers. Okay, now it's working. But sometimes it does get stuck, and when it does, just refresh your browser tab and it should start working fine. But as you can see here, this bar race has been it is working quite properly. And if you want to customize this further to sort of make it like some of the other videos that we've seen so far with some of the background images and whatnot, on the right there is a lot of different options you can tweak. So for example, if I wanted to add a background, I can actually go down to where it says layout, open up this tab, and then to where it says image, toggle it on. And then below that, there's again going to be a space where I can paste in an image URL. So for that, I can go to websites like Pixabay, where they have royalty-free images. For example, I found one here with like stock market charts. So I've downloaded it. I don't have to download it actually. I can just right click it, get the image address as we did before with the logo, go back here, paste it in, and hit enter. Okay, there it is. And yes, our background image does look blurry, but that's only because our original image is in fact blurry like this. So I might want to actually use a different image here, but just as an example, I'm just going to show you this one. And not to waste any time, let's move right on to the next step, which is actually recording and creating your video, right? So fortunately, there's a free software for that, which is really easy to use. In fact, I'm using it to record this very video called OBS Studio. And once you open it up, you want to first go to sources down at the bottom left here and make sure you either have display capture toggled on or window captured with your browser. And then once you have the screen capture set up, you want to just go to the right here to hit start recording to actually record the video. And for that, you can simply just go back to your browser tab where your simulation or your bar race is going on, and then just keep recording until you're satisfied with the length of the video. And another thing is, since the simulation is currently running quite fast and thus will give you a relatively short YouTube video, to actually slow it down, you can go to the right menu again and then go to timeline and annotation. And then at the very bottom of that tab, you can actually change up the speed of the animation or the bar race. So for example, here there's a setting called timeline duration, and you can just scale this up to however long you want your video to be. So for example, I can make it 600 seconds to make it a 10-minute long video, and that'll greatly slow down the progress of this video. Also very important while you're recording is you don't want all this extra stuff to show up in your video, right? With the menu and like the title and everything. You just want this bar animation or bar race to play. So to do that, you want to go to the top left corner here to where there's a button that says full preview in new window. You want to click on this, which will open up a new browser tab. Then you can just record from here. And with OBS Studio, you can easily resize the window to make the URL bar disappear, for example. And like I'm doing now, I can actually move this around a little bit. So you want to actually expand it big enough so that all the extra stuff doesn't show. Or you can also use a simple video editor like VSDC, which is what I like to use, in addition to Windows Movie Maker, to sort of crop away the unwanted stuff, and also to add some effects like music, being royalty-free music, or even some captions or an introduction. And speaking of adding royalty-free music, for that you can simply go over to YouTube's very own audio library, and then when you're searching for an audio clip or music, you want to make sure to go to the attribution tab to select attribution not required so that you can freely use the music without having to state the name of the artist or the song, and then conduct your search. And finally, as promised, let me show you a way you can easily monetize your channel without having to first reach the subscriber and watch time criteria to be able to run ads on your videos, which can take quite a bit of time to reach. And for that, I'm going to return to an example we actually looked at earlier called NZ Anime, where if you open up any of their videos, in the descriptions will be a link to a merch store that sells apparel that are mostly relevant to the topics of those videos. And while it looks like a lot of work to set up, it's actually deceptively simple if you use a so-called print-on-demand service, for which all you need to do is to upload your own designs for the service to handle production, distribution, and customer support, oftentimes for free. For instance, you can set up a completely free storefront using teespring.com, and in fact, I even have my own merch store that I've set up on the same website. So here, as you can see, all these designs I actually created manually using Trello.com. Using Canva.com can work too, except I prefer Trello for being able to download backgroundless images for free. But for a quick tutorial on how to design apparel for and set up a store on Teespring, you can check out another video I have linked in the description box below. And that is pretty much all I want to show you in this video. This method is definitely viable, as has already been proven by those YouTube channels we looked at. You just have to obviously put in the work and do good keyword research to target trends. And if you'd like to learn even more about making passive income online, especially how I do it, you can also check out the first link in the description box. And if you liked the video or found it helpful at all, remember to smash the like button to help it out with the YouTube algorithm, and to subscribe to my channel for more videos about making money online and digital entrepreneurship. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.